Jordan Travis made a play on 4th and 14. So take us through that play and what worked. And we certainly had our analysis and take on Jordan Travis and what he could do and what he could not do. But he delivered a ball on time that looked pretty impressive when it counted.
Yeah, well, even before that, so that I'll go to that drive, but I'm gonna go back. I think the previous drive.
Yep.
With who was on the receiving end of that catch on 4th and 14, Andrew Parchment, the transfer from Kansas. He literally probably screwed the game at that point. If you were watching it, he was wide open, had the DB beaten man coverage, stopped running his route. So Jordan Travis overthrows him, but if he keeps running his route, it's 6. It's a big play, easy, right? Then the next play, Jordan Travis goes back to him. He runs a route on short of the sticks. Now, luckily, the defense did what they needed to do and held Miami in check. But when you look at that, and then you come back to to come back to that moment, 4th and 14, that the drive was very uncreative up until that point. I mean, I think I'm trying to remember if we took a sack or what happened to get us to that 14, but obviously we lost yards. I don't remember fully what happened, but Jordan Travis did what everybody except for me and the coaches in Florida State has said that he could not do. He stayed in the pocket, he climbed, and he threw a strike. Actually, on that drive, he threw 2 dimes. But that one was the most important one. And for whatever reason, the University of Miami did not play to their strength of what they had, and they put it in zone, and they gave him an opportunity to be able to complete that pass and gave him time. So it was great. I personally think Parchment scored. I think if Miami fans were being honest with themselves, they would have rather him score at that point because you had almost a minute left in the game. You would have had more time to be able to put a drive together as opposed to you're on the 1-inch yard line and the inevitable happens. To quote Kenny Dillingham, when I got a chance to rap with him a little bit after the game, if you can't score from the 1-inch yard line, he said, James, we were doing 4 quarterback sneaks. I already told him what the play was. He said, if we can't get in at that moment, we don't deserve to win. But I think, with the 2 attempts at that to get it down to 31 seconds, there was no way Miami was going to come back from that. But I think it was just an overall just a good game where FSU finally fought themselves through 4 quarters and did not just give up. Whereas, on the other side, Miami has been on the wrong end of these 1-score games as many times as Florida State has been but great game. Be one of those ones where people will remember. Obviously, it's not as much star power, but it's still a rivalry nonetheless. So if you go, so that's why it's funny, like when you see guys comment and they talk about how this FSU team sucks. That if you don't go into these rivalry games with your mind right and you go in like a fan, you're going to be on the wrong end of it. I think it's only been maybe 3 or 4 blowouts in the history of our famed rivalry, and that's including Miami going through a probationary period. So that just lets you know, man, this is but like you said in the beginning, I think I said it when me and you talked before the game. I know I've been eating off of this rivalry since 2005. And everywhere I went in Tallahassee this past weekend, everybody was talking about the touchdown in 2005. So, people are going to be talking about Jordan Travis and Andrew Parchment and Jermaine Johnson for quite some time, man. Those guys played their hearts out, and those boys came out with a victory. And kudos to Coach Norvell, Coach Fuller, and staff for keeping those guys focused.
Well, like you say, James, unless you're going to do something stupid like a false start that's going to move you back 5 yards or cough up the football, of course, it's better to get the first down, 1st and goal, like they did in that situation, kill the rest of the game and win the game, number one. Number two, what really helped were, and you could just see by the formation on those quarterback sneaks, is the new rule that you can shoot. They had 2 guys just pushing. Yeah, just push them, man. That's tough. That's got to be brutal on a defense now with those kind of rules. Shoot, I saw like 3-4 plays over the weekend where wide receivers were catching the ball 6 and 8 yards down the field, and offensive linemen were getting down the field and pushing them ahead another 5 yards.
it's why why they're being so much harder on the illegal man downfield penalty than they have in the past. For fans who don't know, you get 2 to 3, really 3 yards if you're pushing it, but you get the offensive lineman gets to be 2 yards down the field. But those guys are really, with the RPO and how quick they're getting rid of the ball, they're pushing it. So like if you're able to get down the field quicker, you're able to propel your guy a lot more. But that's why I always believe in man ball on the goal line. Like it's inevitable. They needed to put I'm trying to think of number 4, our big tight end that came from UCLA. They should have put him right
Wilson.
behind Jordan Travis in the first place, and just let his big ass just push him in, like, because that's what I would have done if they wasn't giving me the ball. But I also know that probably would have happened is if they would have stuffed him that second time, cut block, guard center, cut block, jump over top. It's so many, like, and then their linebacker, the only way to stop it is if their linebacker times it perfectly and he's jumping over the top too. And then that's where you get those cool collisions in the air. But, you just, like you said, you want to make sure you secure the snap, make sure you don't get a false start. Those are the only things that the defense can really, really hope and bank on.